Have you ever had that feeling that your company has, like, a secret life? You know, a totally different way things actually get done compared to the official flowcharts on the wall? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on that hidden world. We're going to dive into a technology that shows you how your business really operates and a huge breakthrough that lets pretty much anyone understand its secrets. So, let's jump right in.
No, really, take a second and think about it. Not how it's supposed to work according to the manual, but what actually happens day to day. There is almost always a massive gap between those two things. You know, think about the official one-page process for filing an expense report versus the absolute chaos of emails, follow-ups, and corrections it actually takes to get your money back. That gap, that's where things get interesting.
And this is what it looks like. Over on the left, you've got the plan. It's clean, it's simple, it makes total sense on a PowerPoint slide. But then you have the reality on the right. This is what's actually happening in the trenches. It's this tangled, messy web of detours, workarounds, and weird exceptions. And buried inside all that mess, that's where you find all the bottlenecks, the inefficiencies, and honestly the biggest opportunities to make things better.
So this gap, this difference between the neat plan and the messy reality, we can call it the process illusion. And believe me, it's not just your company. This is a universal thing that affects pretty much every organization out there, big or small.
The most important thing to get is that every single business has this hidden life, these real, as-is processes that are running the show behind the scenes. And if you want to improve anything at all, seeing that hidden world clearly is the absolute non-negotiable first step. I mean, you can't fix what you can't see, right?
Okay, so how do we actually see this invisible world? How do we make it visible? Well, that brings us to a really cool piece of technology designed to do exactly that. It's called process mining. Think of process mining as a kind of digital detective for your business. It dives into the data your company is already creating every single second. All those digital footprints left behind in your sales software, your finance systems, you name it. It takes all that evidence and automatically draws you a map of what's really going on, not just what people think is going on.
Now, I know, this looks a little intense, but don't worry about the details. Here's the big picture. It shows how you can take all that raw, messy data from your systems on the left and turn it into clear, actionable ways to improve your business on the right. It's basically a machine for turning chaos into clarity.
And we can actually boil that whole complicated machine down to 3 simple steps. First, you discover. The system sifts through the data and shows you the process as it truly is. Second, you do a conformance check, which is just a fancy way of saying you compare that reality to your official plan to see where things go off the rails. And third, you enhance. You use those insights to fix the problems and make the whole thing run smoother.
But, there's a catch. Process mining is so powerful that it actually creates a new kind of problem. It gives you this absolute treasure trove of insights, but they're often hidden inside complex charts and stats that, let's be honest, look like a foreign language to most of us. And this creates a brand new bottleneck. The tools that were supposed to give everyone clarity end up producing these super complex reports that only data scientists can really understand. So all that amazing insight gets locked away from the very people who need it the most, the managers and team leads on the front lines who could actually use it to make a difference. And this, right here, is where the big breakthrough comes in. What if you could give every single person in your company their own personal data analyst? This is where generative AI steps onto the stage. It acts like a universal translator, turning all that complex data into a simple conversation. So check out this diagram. The stuff on the left is what we saw before. Data goes in, the process mining tool does its thing. But look at that new layer on the right. That's a large language model, an LLM. This AI sits on top of all the data and acts as an interpreter. It lets you just ask questions in plain English, like you're talking to a person. And here's why that's a total game changer. The AI isn't just a fancy calculator that spits out a chart. It gives you 3 critical things. It does the analysis, sure, but then it gives you an interpretation of what that analysis actually means. And finally, it offers concrete recommendations on how you can improve things. It's an analyst, an interpreter, and a consultant all rolled into one. So the big question is, does it work? I mean, it sounds incredible, but what happens when the rubber meets the road? Let's look at the results and see how this actually helps a business go from just having data to actually taking action. In a study that tested this exact system, the results were, they were amazing. They had a panel of human experts look at what the AI came up with.
and a whopping 72% of its analyses were rated as good. So this proves it. The AI isn't just making stuff up. It's providing insights that are just as valuable as a human experts, but they're available instantly to anyone.
Now, to really get the scale of this, let's look at another field, financial fraud detection. Over the last couple of decades, AI has completely changed the game here. We went from these simple rule-based systems in the 90s that caught less than half the fraud to today's deep learning models that can catch up to 90% of it. That same kind of revolutionary jump is what's happening right now for business processes.
And this is the kind of impact we're talking about. I mean, look at these numbers from finance. This AI evolution led to a nearly 75% drop in major errors and manual work. It basically got rid of those nasty financial surprises. That's the level of power we are unlocking for every other part of the business now. It's huge.
This quote from the research paper just nails it. This isn't just some small update. It's a pioneering step. At the end of the day, it's all about making data analysis accessible, making it intuitive, conversational, and available to everyone who's actually doing the work, not just the data experts in the back room.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. If you could actually have a conversation with your business, if you could just ask it anything about how work really gets done, from the simplest little tasks to the most complicated workflow, what's the first thing you'd want to know?